In addition to assisting churches spiritually, the last 5 years we also have assisted with their facilities. We provide some limited funds and unskilled labor if they will provide some additional funds and guidance as to what needs to be done. We have assisted with taking down walls and putting up walls, scraping and painting walls, hauling tiles, digging holes and filling them, mixing cement, cutting, bending and assembling rebar, taking off old ceiling material and preparing for new, and general cleaning and organizing. In preparation for the volleyball tournament, we agreed to sweep the courts and repaint the lines in exchange for permission to use the courts. We have been conducting these volleyball tournaments over the last few years as a means to reach people from the neighborhoods around the local church that are not saved. Teams are formed prior to the tournament. Halfway through the round-robin tournament, we serve the teams lunch and then do a gospel presentation before continuing the tournament. The most of the people were not saved or regular church attendees. They were attentive as we shared the gospel with them. After the presentation, we finished the remaining matches and determined the winners. As part of the rules, we waited until Sunday night to give out the prizes for the third, second, and first place teams in the church service on Sunday night. We trust that the Lord will use the seeds that were planted on this day to bring fruit for Him. This year, we conducted our third youth conference with around 85 young people. The theme for this year was being distinct teens, separated for His service. We used some team-building activities and lessons to teach them about using biblical precepts and principles in making decisions. We had about 65 people for our first teachers conference. It was for school teachers as well as for Sunday school teachers. We learned about the laws of teaching using some activities to give practical tips on discipline and teaching. We also talked about the law of the heart, how if we truly want to be able to make a permanent difference, we must reach the heart, seeing our hearts as desperately wicked and needing to be saved. This year we also had the opportunity to do open-air presentations in a market, on a concrete futbito court, and a street market corner. We sang a few songs and did a couple skits to get the attention of the people, but we also presented a clear gospel message. Many of the people who stopped to listen would not have come to church to hear the gospel, but were willing to listen when we came to them. It was encouraging to see how many people were reading the tracts that we gave them, and how others stayed to talk to us or the pastor that was with us to find out more about what we had said or to find out more about the church. On Monday evening, prior to our return to the States on Tuesday morning, we had been invited to attend a goodbye service. We were overwhelmed by the number of people who were there to send us off, as well as the gifts that were given to us. They had divided the church into 4 groups, with each group preparing typical foods and having people dress in the typical garb from the different regions of Peru. Several of the pastors with whom we had ministered were present and had kind words of encouragement for us, as well as some gifts. They mentioned how the example of the young people on our team had impacted the lives of their teens and others in their church to be able to work and minister. Another pastor mentioned that the work that we had done for the church, as well as the funds that we had provided, would have taken the church 7 to 12 months to collect and accomplish. The other church where we did construction also told us of how our help had motivated their people to turn down the pastor's request for a loan to complete the project, and instead surprised the pastor with providing the necessary funds themselves. The church members commented that if a group of foreigners were willing to give of their time and money to help the church, they should also be willing to give. It was humbling and encouraging to see some of what God had accomplished through us on this trip. At the end of the official meeting, many pictures were taken as we said our goodbyes. We thank the Lord and you for all your prayers and your support throughout this trip. Please pray that God will continue to use this trip in our lives and in the lives of all those with whom we have come in contact.